You cannot survive the apocalypse alone. We love the American idea of the lone wolf Christian, the John Wayne believer, just me and Jesus against the world. We think that if we have enough faith, enough theology, and enough grit, we can handle anything the devil throws at us. But when Daniel, one of the holiest men in the Bible, a man whom God called highly esteemed, faced death, the very first thing he did was run to his friends. He didn't white-knuckle his way through the crisis. Instead, Daniel is teaching us one of the most valuable lessons that Jesus promises us in Matthew chapter 18, verse 20. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am also. Daniel went to his Hebrew friends, or as we call them now, our Christian brothers. If Daniel needed a prayer team to survive Babylon, you definitely do. If the smartest man in the empire couldn't get the answer by himself, neither can you. Hello, and welcome back to Bible Talk. I'm your host, T. I am not a theologian. I am just a woman who knows that when the sky falls, you need someone to hold your arms up. Today, we are talking about the war room. We are talking about the power of heavy lifting, life or death corporate prayer. Please open your Bibles to Daniel chapter 2, verses 17 through 19. I read the Christian Standard Bible. Bringing this to context, Daniel has just bought 24 hours of time from the king. The clock is ticking. Tick, 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 tick. If he doesn't have the answer by morning, what is left of the wise men will die and probably his neck first on the serving block. Watch what he does with his time. Then Daniel went to his house and told his friends Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah about the matter, urging them to ask the God of the heavens for mercy concerning this mystery, so Daniel and his friends would not be destroyed with the rest of the Babylon's wise men. The mystery was then revealed to Daniel in a vision of the night, and Daniel praised the God of heavens. There is a massive shift in these verses. Did you catch it? Let's look at the names. In chapter 1, the chief eunuch stripped them of their Hebrew names and gave them Babylonian slave names. Hananiah became Shadrach, which is known as command of Aku, the moon god. Mishael became Meshach, who is like Aku. Azariah became Abednego, servant of Nebo, the god of wisdom. In public, at work, and in the palace, they answered to their slave names. They had to. But look at verse 17. When Daniel walked into his house, into the war room, he didn't call them Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He called them Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Why is this important? Well, let's look at the meanings. Hananiah means Yahweh is gracious. Mishael means who is like God. And Azariah means Yahweh has helped. Let's look at the spiritual insight. In the private prayer closet, they stripped off their Babylonian labels. They washed off the world's identity and walked into their godly identity. You cannot pray with power if you are wearing the world's name tag. When you get into the war room with your friends, you aren't the accountant, the divorcee, or the failure. You are a child of God. You have to reclaim your covenant identity before you can ask for a covenant miracle. Now, look at how they prayed. Verse 18 says he urged them to ask the God for the heavens for mercy concerning this mystery. This is profound humility. Let's think about it. They were innocent. They hadn't done anything wrong. They were being persecuted unfairly. Most of us would be screaming, God, this isn't fair. Justice! Save us because we are good. We would be decreeing and declaring. We would be demanding our rights. Daniel didn't do that. Instead, he asked for mercy. Why? Because he understood that Babylon was under judgment, and he was living in Babylon. He understood that even though he was personally righteous, he was a part of a sinful people. He threw himself on the character of God, not his own resume. Can you just picture the prayer they might have prayed? God, we don't deserve an answer. We deserve to die with the rest of this wicked city. But please have mercy on us. When you approach God with entitlement, you owe me this, the door often stays shut. But when you approach God with humility, Lord, please have mercy, usually the door swings wide open. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16 says, "Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." Why didn't Daniel just pray by himself? He was a prophet. He had a direct line to God. Why involve the other three? Jesus gives us the spiritual physics for this in Matthew chapter 18, verse 19. He says, "Again I say to you, if two of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by Father in heaven." The Greek word for agree is symphoneo. It's where we get the word symphony. It means to sound together, to harmonize. When Daniel prayed alone, it was a solo, beautiful and powerful. But when he brought in Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, it became a harmonious symphony. The sound was louder in the spirit realm. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 8 gives us the military math. 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall chase 10,000. Notice the compounding interest, 1 versus 20. But when you get a group, the power multiplies exponentially. Daniel knew he was facing a level 10 demon, Babylon. He needed a level 10 power, so he gathered his prayer partners. I want you to use your imagination. Verse 19 says the answer came in a vision of the night. Remember, Arioch was at his door early that morning to kill him, and that was when he saw the king. This is not a prayer that was a simple of minutes. This implies that all of them prayed all day and all evening, because it implies they didn't get the answer immediately. The execution was scheduled for sunrise the next day. I speculate that the king gave Daniel 24 hours from his request. Let's place this in that environment. The air in the room is sterile, cold, and smells of expensive cologne and fear. You stand before the person who holds the power to delete your existence. They don't just want you fired, they want you erased. The metaphor of the sword has become literal in this scenario, a visceral, jagged threat. You look them in the eye. You were 19 years old. You should be worrying about exams or rent, not bargaining for your life. Your accuser says you have 24 hours. Bring me the solution, the impossible data, the lost key, the thing no one knows, or I take your head. And not just yours, your team's, your family's, and maybe the innocent neighbors who share your wall. Everyone bleeds for your failure. The executioner is already stationed outside the door. You hear the shift of weight, the metallic scrape of readiness. There is no back door. There is no escape route. You nod. You don't beg. You don't tremble. A strange winter calm settles in your chest. It unnerves them. They want to see panic, but you are operating on a different frequency. You know something they don't. The economy of heaven doesn't rely on human leverage. You walk out, past the guards, and into your holding cell or your apartment. You call your friends, 3 of them. They're just kids too. We need to ask, you say. We need to ask for the impossible. You hit the floor. This isn't a polite bedtime prayer. This is war. You are besieging the throne of God because the alternative is a massacre. You plead for mercy not because you are good, but because He is God. The clock has already begun. In the first hour, you're calm. But the longer you pray with silence and no answer, doubt starts to whisper. 12 hours in, you and your friends are exhausted, with swollen knees and aching backs. But you will not give up your humble state because too many are counting on you to save their lives. You are counting on the character of God, not the probability of survival. You have 4 hours left, and finally, the atmosphere shifts. It isn't a sound. It isn't the lightning bolt. It is a presence. The air pressure in the room changes. The heavy, suffocating dread evaporates, replaced by a weight of glory that pins you to the floor. The skeptic might say, "Okay, T, prayer is powerful. I get it. But isn't it really just a psychological coping mechanism? It lowers cortisol. It focuses the mind. It makes you feel better. That's all it is, a way to calm down before you die. Here's my rebuttal. That is the standard secular view, but let's look at the outcome. If prayer was just coping, they would have felt better, but they would have still died the next morning. Meditation does create calm. Prayer downloads revelation. The result of this prayer wasn't just peace, it was information. Specific, detailed data. A statue made of 4 metals, a rock cut without hands, a specific timeline of empires. You cannot psychologically manufacture the history of the world in a dream. You cannot cope your way into knowing a secret that is locked inside the king's brain. The proof that prayer works is the impossible answer that followed. Daniel didn't just wake up calm. He woke up with a script to the future. Here's my theological challenge for you. I want to ask you a very hard question today. Who are your 3 friends? If you are a post-tribulation believer like me and believe we are heading into hard times, you need a wolf pack. You need people who, when you text them, pray emergency, they don't send back a praying hands emoji and keep watching Netflix. They actually drop everything and go to war for you. Do you have that? Most Christians don't. We have church friends who we talk with about sports, people, schools, but we don't have Hananiahs, Mishaels, and Azariahs. If you are isolated, you are vulnerable. In the wild, the predator separates the sheep from the flock before he attacks. If you are trying to navigate Babylon alone, you will be eaten. You need to find your people. And if you don't have them, stop praying for a blessing and start praying and asking for a team. Please, God, send me my Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The answer has come. Daniel sees the dream. He sees the statue. He sees a stone crushing the feet. He has the key to save his life. He has the key to save the wise men. Most of us in that moment would run out the door. I got it! Arioch, they'll kill me! Take me to the king! We would be so relieved to survive that we would rush to the solution. Daniel doesn't. He stays in the room. He grabs a pen and he writes a song. Before he runs to the king, he runs to the throne. Next time, we are going to look at the hymn of praise. We are going to learn why worship must come before the victory. Here are my 3 questions for you to help build your faith. Number 1, do you have a prayer team that you trust with your life? If not, who can you invite to start one this week? Number 2, when you pray, do you demand entitlements or ask for mercy? Check your posture. Are you humble? Number 3, are you willing to pray through the night until the vision comes? Or do you give up after 15 minutes? I'll see you on the next video. Worship as warfare. But until then, you have a blessed day. Bye for now.